The year was 2022, and I had the chance to visit Burundi on a storytelling trip. Burundi is a place often known as
the poorest country in Africa.
The world's poorest country.
The poorest country in the world.
But that's not the story I came to tell. I came to tell stories of the people, the nature, the survivors of war and hardship, the keepers of tradition and custom, the defenders of land and ecosystems. And in the end, I was able to tell these stories. Stories of people like Odetta, the village entrepreneur, or Enos, whose new farming techniques brought his family out of hunger, or Esperance, an amputee after the Civil War who became a leader in her village.
I kind of like to think of the stories I tell as the opposite of watching the news.
I'm a storyteller. It's my actual job title, and I'm thankful it's something I get to do on a daily basis. I actually do think the stories we tell can reshape our world.
You see, we can't meaningfully develop and implement solutions if we don't have proximity to the ones most affected by a problem. Until we've heard their stories and engaged their perspectives, whatever we develop will lack that touch of human empathy that's necessary for just solutions and for lasting solutions.
It's a privilege to do this work, but I have to admit, it's work you've got to be careful with. Ethical storytelling is something I speak about quite a bit, and while there are a lot of aspects to it, I really want to avoid extractive storytelling. What I mean by that is the type of storytelling where someone just drops into a village with a team and a whole bunch of complicated camera equipment, collects the shots, and leaves. As though the people who took the time to generously open up and share their experiences were simply items on the shot list, ready to be checked off. I want my storytelling encounters to be human, mutual, and dignifying. Now, there are always going to be obstacles. In reality, I'm not likely to encounter many of these people I featured again. I often tell stories in remote and rural settings. So, how can I fight from that hit record and leave mentality? I still want there to be something about these moments that stretches on long after the day of recording. So, a few weeks ago, one of my teammates was in Burundi, and he actually had the chance to meet Esperance, and apparently the first thing that she asked him when she saw him was, "Where's Philippe?" Man, that moved me. So, I'm not sharing the story to be like, hey, I'm famous in Burundi. I mean, I have picked up a few Burundian followers, so shout out to you guys. But to me, this was a really powerful reminder that whenever someone shares their story with me, it's a really generous act, and for them, it's a momentous occasion. And so that's a pretty powerful nudge to handle those stories with care and to treat them with top-level stewardship. I've learned that whenever someone offers us a glimpse into their lives through storytelling, it's something that we should not take for granted. The moments before my interview with Esperance, I hung out with her community group. I used the dozen or so Kirundi words that I learned on the plane ride over, and even though I looked incredibly goofy, that was kind of the point. Being able to get unserious for a little bit in front of all these new faces led to an actual real connection. I like to say that these storytelling trips I get to take are pretty much once-in-a-lifetime experiences, and I just lucked out and won this lottery where I get to take a few of them every year. But I'm not wanting that privilege to let me forget how special it actually is. On another, more recent storytelling trip to Southeast Asia, one of our local team members told us about a conversation he had with a guy who we would wind up interviewing. He was an older gentleman who lived a hard life of escaping war, resettling in a new country, and working to secure land rights. My teammate told him, hey, it's pretty cool that your story is going to be recorded, especially as you're getting older. And he reflected, yeah, maybe someday my kids will see and know what happened here. I tell stories because I believe they shape our world. And if one of the ways they do that is through affirming a person's lived experience, then I think that's worthwhile too.